Who is a player for each of you that you think is underrated? And before you get into it, I think there's a tier system to this. There's a tier where at the very top, there might be some people who they belong with the very best names and they don't get mentioned as far as Hart candidates go by media, fans, or anyone. But then even below that, there are some players who are actually stars who maybe they don't make an all-star team because the way that process works is silly, and they don't get respect from fans. They get respect maybe from the media. So who's like a top level and then maybe one a little mid-level as well for you guys? Absolutely phased this man because he wanted to talk about Alex Tuck. I'm just going to say it off the top. None of you guys have forced yourself to watch Sabres games. It's fine. Alex Tuck actually genuinely been really fun to watch. If he played the whole year, it'd be a career year for him. And the fact that the guy wants to play for Buffalo, excellent.
Do the Sabres have a captain right now?
They do not.
I hated watching Alex Tuck absolutely destroy the Avs in the playoffs last year. He's so good. He's so hard to handle. Just big body, like
horse. Horse. And you talk about the playoffs being a different beast. That is the perfect example. That guy will help a team win a Stanley Cup if he's like kind of more your depth.
Jesse just said it. He's going to help the Buffalo Sabres win a Stanley Cup.
He won't be.
You heard it here.
He won't be a depth piece.
You
for
heard
them,
it here.
He'll be like their best player.
You heard it
Which
here.
means that they probably won't go to the playoffs.
You heard that here
for a long time. Honestly, Sabres fans, nothing but respect for all of you.
Do you feel respected, Z?
Honestly, I have no team. I enjoy watching their games more than I should, though. But anyways, underrated.
Okay, so this one's funny because this has been a couple weeks coming where I just want to like profess my love for Brad Marchand because like I think regardless of the fact that like when you look at just how ridiculous he's been over the past couple of years, how many points he's put up, I feel like he got a lot of hate for when he punched that goalie in the head.
That goalie,
that goalie,
Tristan Jarry.
And by the way, he was the funnier one in that exchange. Did you hear what he said to him?
How about that effing save?
Tristan Jarry, if you're gonna talk that sweet, you got to expect to get punched in the face.
No, absolutely not. You don't even this guy's the guy that goes around punching goalies in the face.
If someone hit your goalie off of that, you would have chased them into the parking lot. Huh?
Yeah. You do that to Vincenzo Arnaud, and you're totally
Okay, but let me finish professing my love for Brad Marchand because everybody was like, get him out of the league. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like I loved it. Like I'm somebody who in every way is supposed to hate Brad Marchand. He's a guy that like consistently does well against my favorite team. He's in our division. Him being good is a problem for the team I like. But at the same time, I don't really think that was that dangerous of a play. Who cared? He gave a punch with his glove on to the goalie. Like
it was a gross over exaggeration for sure to be like kick him out of the league, but like you like him for that? One sec. He's done some funny stuff. I get it.
Yeah.
And I think it's way too extreme on the other side. But like that one was a little far. He's done some stuff that's funny. Like for example, when he's prevented Crosby from getting a stick, that was hilarious. Same exact game where he did that.
Oh, yeah.
That was really funny.
That game, he was just on fire, right? Because then the Tristan Jarry thing, too, where he denied him giving the puck to him.
That's right.
But the thing with Jarry, like, to me, that stuff's, I'm like, nah, like, that's actually kind of stupid. That's where it goes, like, from being funny to being like, all right, like, that's a little nuts.
Objectively speaking, I love Brad Marchand. He's, like, legitimately one of my favorite players of all time. I think he's such a good player. Doesn't get enough respect. He's not really, you don't really think of
What did this room turn into? Is this a fan club?
We got a whole fan club.
I'm not even saying I dislike him, but, like, it's wild how much positive
and then
energy.
because he gets so much hate, man.
Some of it's deservedly so, though. It's like he deserves the hate, but I agree that I like it.
How I consider him underrated is the question. Is Brad Marchand a Hall of Famer?
100%.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not even a question.
And I feel like a lot of people would not go all in on that.
Olympic gold, Stanley Cup. Let's not forget how valuable he was for the Bruins during that run too. What was that? His second year in the league.
You guys are saying uncontested into the Hall of Fame. Like if you look at his like,
no, I think he will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But is that just because the Hall of Fame is just going to be diluted to the point where like it really is in every other sport where they're just putting everybody in?
Man,
Like,
I'm not saying he's not just in everybody.
This is like such a tough conversation because like you don't want to disrespect him. He's an incredible player. Like that's not at all what this conversation is. But like right now he's at 764 points. So like to reach 1,000, that's also still not like the benchmark. He's not gonna have 500 goals in his career most likely. He's never won any form of major individual trophy.
That's where it is for
I'm
me.
not quite sure how he's like a lock. Is all I'm saying. You guys are making it seem like he's like a lock for the Hall of Fame.
I'm saying I think I would put him in the Hall of Fame. I'm assuming by the end of his career, which I think like he'll probably hit 1,000 points if he plays, let's say like 3-4 more seasons.
Which we did a thing.
I know,
There's
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of players who were over 1,000 points who are not in the Hall of Fame. That is
And
not
that
the benchmark
have
to
probably
make it.
won some hardware,
and have
too.
won some hardware.
Put him in the builders category. He's built up the game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Put him
He's
in the
put him in
builders
the
category.
Builders category.
Stick him in the
Builders
builders.
category.
Why don't you kiss his ass?
There's not much ass left after you guys kissed it, okay? He'd be fighting for real estate.
All I was going to say is that I think his points are pushed down a little bit because he played in a lot of shortened seasons.
Yeah.
One. And then so I think that has hurt his numbers a little bit, and I think that will hurt a lot of people's numbers in this era. When you look at like his prime, I think it's like 6 or 7 seasons where he hits a point per game in all straight seasons. And on top of that, just in that time, you could probably have him like top 5 in points in the league. In my mind, if you are at that level, I think you can end up a Hall of Famer, and especially because of he is one of those guys that I think everybody would agree brings a lot of other stuff to the game.
He's a builder.
A builder, but there's like a lot of point per game players who are not in the Hall of Fame. It would not surprise me if he didn't end up, but also he's still got a lot of career left, so no one here is saying that he's not going to make it either.
Who knows? Maybe the Bruins do something else in the playoffs, and maybe he.
Conn Smythe.
Conn Smythe. Conn Smythe.
Conn Smythe would be huge.
This guy has got a great resume, and he was a damn good player during the Bruins playoff run.
No one's arguing against
No
that.
one is
I
in
think
this
it's
room
more,
is
there
sad
are
against
more
that.
accomplished resumes and especially like individual awards that aren't in the Hall of Fame yet.
Who?
It's going to be tough for him to get it.
I don't think it's going to be as tough as you're making it out to be.
Well, it might not be because at this point, like, the Hall of Fame just puts a lot of people in. It's like that in every sport. Every sport, except for baseball, who is just stingy with their Hall of Famers, which I think that's the way it should be, but...
Before I lose this thought, direct comparison for your Brad Marchand, Rob Brendamore. I think we all have respect for him. Guy won 2 Selkies. He ended his career with 1,100 points, 452 goals. All this is pretty similar-ish.
Didn't he play
not
like
in the Hall of Fame.
billion games?
Pierre Turgeon has 1,300 points.
Yeah.
Not in the Hall of Fame.
Doesn't have a Stanley Cup or an Olympic gold.
I'm just saying, like, there are other things now bringing him down the same way that Marchand might not have that for him.
Marchand's not at a point per game, though.
He's not that far off, though.
He's 80 points back of a point per game.
Yeah, but if you look at his production in the second half of his career.
Yes, that's
I
fine,
know,
but
but,
you
like,
don't get judged on the Hall of Fame in the
it's the whole
second
thing.
half of
It's the
your
whole
career.
resume.
I think that you also do get judged, though, of like at a certain point in your career were you the most dominant player in the league.
But he was
Which
never
he
the
was
most
not.
dominant
Brad
player in the
Marchand
league.
offensively for the past 4 seasons has been one of the most dominant players in the
You just
NHL.
said the,
But
and then
he
you
hasn't
took
been
it back
the.
to
And
yeah, we went the,
That's
and
the
then one
problem.
up.
Like in the last 6 seasons, McDavid and Draisaitl are the only 2 players that have more points than Brad Marchand.
Example of what?
That's fine.
Incredible.
I know
that's like okay. Over the last 6 years, you have been a top 5 dominant offensive player in the league. The fact that this guy has been so dominant for like the peak years of his career, 6 years is a long stretch for me. Like, get him in the Hall.
He's kind of grouped together though with like your Patrick Kane, McKinnon, Panarin. Like he's only got 20 more points than them.
All Hall of Famers. These guys are all going to the Hall. That is such a
But
elite company.
they all have better resumes than Marchand. Panarin, I don't know. Other than a cup for McKinnon and Panarin, I don't know. Are you saying Panarin's going to the Hall of Fame right now?
What's McKinnon ever won?
No, I'm saying he doesn't have the resume.
Yeah, well, you said
You
he
said
doesn't have the
everyone
cup, but
He doesn't have the cup.
anything.
He hasn't won anything.
There's
You're right.
also guys like, I mean, we don't know what any of their futures are going to be. Like
They're
the next
also
5
they're
years.
also
But
younger. So
you're
I'm
you're telling
projecting
me-
the fact that McKinnon's going to win some awards.
You're
here.
telling me that Marchand has been better than McKinnon over the last 6 seasons offensively. That is freaking insane to think about. Everyone talks about how amazing Nathan McKinnon is, how elite he is, how he's had some incredible years. To over a 6-year span to only be behind Draisaitl and McDavid, that's freaking incredible.
But I also
That
think
is
that the 6 years you're
unbelievable.
looking at are different than McKinnon's 6 years because it's 6 years of Brad Marchand being in his prime versus when McKinnon is literally like 6 years ago, he was a 20-year-old and on a really bad team.
this really matters how you look at data, where you're looking at your 6-year span here. Cool. If that's the headline, that's the only years I'm looking at. But again, that's not what they look at. They look at your entire resume. That is impressive. Again, I'm not saying he's not going to make it, but when you're saying those 6 years, you still need to account for what's going to happen and what happened before those 6 years as well, because that's what ends up happening. There are players who've had hot stretches in their career that don't go to the Hall. It's not like it's never happened before.
My thing. So part of the reason that I put him in, because I agree. If you look at just his numbers, you could probably be like, he was great. Probably won't make it to the Hall. The one thing is, in my mind, I think I appreciate unique players, and I think that there's people that bring different things to the game.
Builder.
Get the guy in as a builder.
He's the greatest pest of the last 20 years. The unique game that he brings to hockey, there isn't an award for, but he's always on a good team, and he's a big reason for that. And obviously, I think it's just crazy the numbers he puts up.
That's fair.
I would actually argue maybe this is a hot take.
You already had a few, so go.
He is the reason.
What's wrong with Bergeron?
Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah, like-
There's
Zdeno
nothing
Chara.
wrong with them. I would take Marchand over Bergeron. Pasternak, maybe I would take.
Oh, you mean like right now?
Yeah,
Or-
right now.
Yeah,
Past couple
but-
years.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's,
but
but like again,
Over the
like he's
glory
getting
years,
older, so like
sometimes.
exactly. Like if
if,
you're saying
if I was
prime
looking at a
years, prime
career,
years,
like Patrice Bergeron, I would take over Marchand.
I like this.
eyes on your own notes, pal.
He's got what?
Eyes on your own notes, pal.
Buddy, I wish I had notes to look at. Unfortunately, my computer runs louder than a semi truck. Anyways, like
we agree that Philip Deneau is underrated.
okay,
I was like, all right,
down
maybe we
harder.
close with the Brad Marchand by saying, I will say you guys have made a strong enough case that like if he made it in, like you've convinced me that if it happened, like it wouldn't be shocking at all. Like
No,
he's a
no.
great player. No one has ever said.
I don't think we're
anything
debating
otherwise
it would
here.
be shocking.
Brad Marchand, if you're listening to this, I know Corwin probably feels the exact same way. Buddy, I feel so passionately that you belong in the Hall of Fame. I love you, man.